What's going on, gang? It's Robert Cribbs with Wargame Minis again, and today we are going to talk about the technique I use to paint my monocolor paint schemes. So to display this technique, I am using the Soviet Sherman Force that I'm building, and there was a couple other extra models that I had that I wanted to give this treatment to as well. So they're along for the ride. As you can see, the T10M turret, and then there's a scout car and a BTR 152. Getting into this, let's take a look at some of the paints and supplies that I use. So I prime my models. It's Rust-Oleum Camouflage Flat Black. And then I base coat them using an Iwata Neo CN airbrush using US Light Green, as you can see here. And then I follow that for the post shading. I do a 3-to-1 mix of Insignia White and US Light Green. Following the highlights, I add Agrax Earthshade all over the model for the shading, and then I clean it up and remove a lot of it using LA Totally Awesome and Q-tips or cotton swabs. Let's take a look at two of the models that I have here to kind of get an idea about the highlighting process and what exactly I do to get my models to look like they do. And what we have here is a BTR 152, and I'm also going to show you a Sherman 76. But as you can see, I put the lighter colors toward the center of the areas on the model, leaving the darker base coat on the edges and in the recesses. That's the idea, at least. And this is a really simple way to help out those monocolor paint schemes, right? Because it adds depth to the paint job and a bit of realism, in my opinion. And I've pretty much used this technique on all of my monocolor paint schemes, and it's worked really well. So after priming my models, we start with the base coat, which is US Light Green. So I know I'm using what might seem as an unconventional color for the Soviets. From what I've read and from what I understand, they didn't really change the color of the Lend-Lease equipment that they got, especially for like the Shermans that they got from the US. The Shermans arrived in the color that they were, and that's how they stayed. I really like Vallejo Air's US Light Green for Soviet tanks. I think it helps to distinguish Soviet forces from other ones, and especially in the case of Lend-Lease equipment. As mentioned before, when I do my highlights, I use a 3-to-1 mixture of the base coat color and usually a white. In this case, for every 3 drops of US Light Green, I added 1 drop of Insignia White. When I start to apply this, I try to work from the center of a specific area of the model to the outside edge. And it can be the outside edge or to a panel line on the model. But either way, you want to try to leave the darker base coat on the outer edge and in the recessed areas, like panel lines. Alright, so this next bit of footage will give you an idea of how I do my highlighting. So I hope it's not too jarring moving between the different models and my editing, but I'm really just trying to save y'all from staring at the back of my hand too much. The next step in my process is to add Agrax Earthshade over the entire model. I know it might be more proper to add a gloss clear coat before this stage of the project, but I do it this way and it's never really been an issue, and it gets me the results that I want. The shade is applied all over the model. I don't really worry about T-stains or building up, but I do try to keep it moving over the model and prevent it from building up, but it's not really that big of a deal because a lot of it's going to end up being removed and it's going to get cleaned up in the next step. Typically I'll use a larger brush to apply the shade to kind of make it go a little bit quicker. I have used the airbrush before to apply the shade and it worked pretty well, but I just prefer to do it with a brush. The final step in this process is the shade cleanup and removal. And to do this, I use a cotton swab or Q-tip and something called LA's Totally Awesome, which I showed y'all in the beginning. It's a cleaning product. I use the cleaner directly from the container. I don't dilute it or anything. Put a little bit on the end of the Q-tip and I start to clean up and remove the shade, allowing it to stay in the areas that I want to stay in, which is typically recessed areas and around details. You do want to be gentle when you do this, because if you press down too hard, there is a chance you could take paint off of the model. Also, if the cotton portion of the cotton swab gets kind of worn down and thinned, you could end up rubbing the model with the stick portion of the cotton swab, and that'll cause damage to the painted surface. And with that, I conclude the process that I use to do my monocolor paint schemes. With these final pictured Shermans, you should be able to tell the one in the center has had base coat, highlighting, shade applied and then cleaned up. The one on the left has had base coat, highlight, and the shade applied, but the shade has not been cleaned up. And the one on the right has only had base coat and highlights applied. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I hope that it was helpful. Once again, this is the process that I use. I like it. It works for me. There's probably a better, more proper way to do this, but this gets the results I want, and I really like using it. This is the first time I've done a video like this, and hopefully I can do some more before too long and keep on creating some content. Have a good one, and happy modeling.